Hello, welcome to Soulprint Pendulum Friday. Thank you so very much for being here. I also appreciate those of you who have sent in a little note saying, yeah, I keep getting unsubscribed or I'm not getting notifications. I appreciate that because all of a sudden I had a whole bunch of new subscribers and I knew that they were, for the most part, ones who found themselves unsubscribed. But to the new ones, welcome to Soulprint, and I hope you enjoy our community here. All right, Pendulum Friday. So we have some great questions again. Before I forget, I want to thank Hilda because she's the one who goes in after the fact and puts in the timestamps information. So thank you to her, and of course to the amazing Joyce. She, always rises to the occasion. So here we go. We're going to start with Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. All right. Let's start, shall we? Well, okay, anybody who's new here, Pendulum, show me when you're ready to talk. It goes side to side like that. Tells me that it's ready and I'm completely protected. Show me yes. Go back and forth. Show me no. Round and round. Okay. Here we go. Will Lauren Boebert win her seat in November? Is Lauren Boebert going to be able to retain her seat in November? Yeah, that's a big no. Will Marjorie Taylor Greene win her seat in November? And this is also a no. Will Trump be convicted in any of his trials? Sorry, there's a cat fight going on here. You two settle down. Will Trump be convicted in any of his trials before the November election? Okay, well, so he's already been found liable for the New York business fraud stuff. We're just waiting for a monetary penalty. He's already been found liable for sexual battery with the E. Jean Carroll case, so we're just looking for that. But I think what we're looking for is a federal conviction, right? So that would come from the January 6th case, like that. So let's focus on that. So will Trump be convicted of a significant offense before his trials, before the November election? Will Trump be convicted before? Yeah. So I don't know how many it is, but definitely looks like one is going to be right up there. Will Trump ever face jail time? He may face it. That doesn't mean he's going to end up having it. Peter Navarro, as I'm sure you probably heard by now, was just sentenced to 4 months for being in contempt of Congress. It's going to take forever. He's going to appeal that somewhere else. And, probably he doesn't have any grounds to appeal on. So maybe that won't go as far, but it's going to take a while, right? So, and I think sometimes we want all manner of punishment. So I'm not saying he doesn't deserve them, but let me ask the question this way. As a result of guilty verdicts, will Donald Trump ever find himself incarcerated in any way, shape, or form, including house arrest? Okay, that's a yes. Next question. Is that likely to be appealed? Yes. And ultimately, will he find himself incarcerated as part of a punishment for crimes committed? Is he actually going to find his butt sitting somewhere they can't leave? It's a really kind of yes, I don't know, it's stopping. Okay, so that sort of hasn't been determined yet. I think a lot of it's going to depend on his own sort of health and what kind of shape he's in. Um, does James Comey have a long future in politics? So I'm thinking this is the guy who is really, really irritating with the gray hair. He looks a little bit premature gray. Um, he is chair of whatever committee it is that's going after Hunter Biden. Um, is there a long future? Can this man anticipate being or continuing to be in politics for the next decade or so? No. Okay, so I've got a question here, and I don't know who we're talking about, so I'm not going to answer the question because I'm not sure who it is. So the question is this: John Casablanca was a very good friend of and mentor of Trump and Epstein. Does he have the same dark energy as them? And will his connection ever loom over Trump? So um, I think we've already established with the last pendulum read that there is definitely some darker energy that swirls around Trump. As far as Epstein goes, I'm not sure where that dark energy is. I have said I think he's brain dead somewhere. I mean, no one can get him to transition. No one can actually see him alive. So that's where we're at. Um, I'm moving on. I'm just going to move on from this. I don't know who this John Casablanca is, but I'm going to ask this question. Will Trump's close connection to Jeffrey Epstein, is that likely to cause him any significant political problem as we go forward? No. Like, honestly, if it was going to cause him a problem, it would have caused him a problem by now, right? His base does not care. And apparently neither does the Republican Party. Will Fani Willis have to resign because of Marjorie Taylor Greene? Is Fani Willis going to be put in a position of having to resign pertaining to the relationship she might have had with a prosecutor that she's recently put on her team? Good Lord. Is Fani Willis going to have to resign as a result of issues within her personal life? No. Okay, so this is interesting. Somebody wanted to know if Trump, I'm assuming it's Trump, has attached himself to darkness willingly, or it has, um, it has attached itself to him, or like vice versa. Um, so this is the thing about dark energy. Um, it's sort of like a mutual admiration society, okay? So he already had some lower vibrational energy running around him. I mean, that was just basic greed and, temperament and, not just not even being a controllable um, child, young adult. So there was already that kind of sort of lower vibrational energy around him. Um, I'm not this huge big proponent of sort of there's these dark, energy beings that just sort of are swirling around looking for somebody to attach themselves to. But I think that if you're sitting in a place of lower vibrational energy, that's exactly what you're going to attract. And we know this from our positive energy meditations, etc., that it will attract and that like energy from anywhere. So the same goes with those lower vibrational energies. So I think it's six of one and half a dozen of another is kind of like the answer. Will Alina Habba be censured and lose her law license? Okay, I'm getting a yes on that. Will Alina Habba be censured? That's a yes. Will she lose her law license? That's a no. Can E. Jean Carroll sue her for defamation too? I'm going to, again, will E. Jean Carroll sue Habba for defamation? No. Will Takapina write a book? Okay, so this was the lawyer who recently just withdrew himself from being a lawyer. He, in fact, was the lawyer that dealt with the original case with regard to E. Jean Carroll. He's sort of been front and center on a lot of stuff. Um, and he just sort of withdrew as being a lawyer, said basically he had a conversation with his moral compass or found his moral compass or found something. But he also apparently said something like he knew that he was only 4 or 5 court appearances away from finding himself in contempt or serious legal trouble. So, will he write a book? No. Energetically, I'm getting a really big no on that. He only did one interview, and I think that was with MSNBC. He hasn't talked to anybody else. He is not going to do book at this time. Let me phrase the question this way. Is he likely to um, tell more of his story in a public way when a lot of this stuff has wrapped up for Trump, or Trump is no longer in the picture? That's a yes. So, what it feels like is for right now, no, he's going to stay quiet. But it definitely feels like if there is an opportunity in the future, he will either do talk shows or write a book, or he'll do something to get his story out. But right now, it looks like no. Did 45 cheat in the Iowa caucus? Oh, okay, no, he didn't. And so as a result, Nikki Haley was not the actual winner of the caucus. Is it possible that Gavin Newsom could be declared the Democratic presidential candidate for 2024? Is Gavin Newsom sort of parachuting into the nomination for president for this upcoming 2024 election? Is that likely to happen? That's a no. Is he a serious contender for 2028? Gavin Newsom. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Energetically, I really like his energy. I think he has a really, really strong shot. He is out there right now, banging the drums for Biden. And he's clever and he's smart and people can't sort of bamboozle him. God knows people on Fox have tried. So I think he's looking at his political future a little bit down the road. Is Trump threatening or blackmailing his SCOTUS picks? That's a yes. It's all three of them. No. Is that going to, is that information going to become public at some point in time? Not even necessarily what they're being blackmailed about, but just the fact that it was happening. Is that likely to come out in the wash somewhere down the road? Yes. But I said down the road, okay, this is not something that's going to make itself known in the next couple of weeks. Will any of Trump's SCOTUS picks resign in 2024? I'm going to just rephrase that a little bit. Will Trump's SCOTUS picks, will any of Trump's SCOTUS picks resign in or choose to leave in 2024? It's a little yes. I don't know. Maybe finally White House's information will come through and they'll have something on it on whatever his name, the guy who likes beer. Don't you like beer too? Um, sorry. Speaking of SCOTUS, is there going to be any resignations, retirements, or exits from SCOTUS on the very conservative side of that ledger? Okay, so that's a yes. The tendency is to keep drilling down and drilling down and drilling down, right? So it's like, oh, okay, who? Is it this one? Is it that one? I don't do that very often because I think sometimes you have to take at least a couple of breaths and put a little bit of faith into the fact that you're trusting the answers without sort of interrogating them. That's just my personal style. I know lots of people who use their pendulum that way, and that's terrific. I just sort of don't. Well, I'll sit with that answer for a little bit, and maybe somewhere down the line, I'll, see if I can narrow it down a bit, but I'm not going to jump on it. Sorry. Will Trump be indicted for breaking campaign finance laws? As of right now, it looks like a yes. In the grand scheme of Trump's full menu of legal issues, is it really going to matter? No. So what I'm taking from that is that that case may never come to fruition. If it does and he's there, it will just be another on a list of. So at some point, you just sort of become numb. And I think we've already had a conversation about the fact that, listen, not everybody is going to get jailed or in trouble or sued or charged for every single thing. Your your legal system would absolutely implode. So this is a situation going forward where the legalities, the things that are going to happen, the indictments, the charges, that kind of thing, they're going after sort of they got some of the low hanging fruit. Now they're going after that top echelon, okay? But not everybody is going to get nailed for every wrong thing they did. And that then just sort of almost becomes a little mean and petty. Right? Will the Republican convention be forced to choose a dark horse candidate for president as their nominee? It's been over 100 years since a political party ran a dark horse. So a dark horse is a person who wasn't really in the running for president, but gets a nomination because something happens to the expected nominee. Now, be mindful of this because this is if he's going to get the nomination. So, is at this point, energetically, is Trump going to be the presumptive presidential nominee for the Republican Party? Yes, strong yes. Interestingly, there is some talk. There's something circulating around the Republicans that they just want to just say he's the presumptive nominee, and so therefore completely block out Haley. I don't know how that is or isn't going to work, but I think that even they understand that she has a way of really baiting him, and the more he's baited, the more kind of erratic and a little nutty he sounds. And so there needs to be some sort of a push to pull that back. I mean, literally her saying things like, he had a temper tantrum, and we know this is what he does when he gets scared or he feels, threatened, and he should feel threatened. Like, she knows exactly how to fire those digs at him. So, if nothing else, it's going to be interesting to watch his head explode over the next however long we still get to watch the Haley and Trump circus. So, I'm going to ask this question. Is the person who is going to be chosen as the Republican nominee, is that person going to be present and able for the November 2024 election? Is that nominee going to be present and able? I'm getting a no on that. Does Trump make it to the Republican convention as a viable candidate? Well, yes, of course, yes. Okay. Is any judge going to ask for mental evaluation of the former guy? As of this point, no. Maybe he has to do something really, really insane. Will cars ever use energy from solar panels? That's kind of a cool question. The potential is there. That's a yes. Was DeSantis paid off by Trump supporters? Also, did you hear um, the legislators of Florida want to pay or donate or give Donald Trump $5 million to help him with legal fees? And apparently DeSantis said something like, not as long as I had veto power. Saying. All right. Chris Christie got out of the race remarkably quickly considering his prior statements. Was he threatened? Okay, so no. And I'm using the term threatened as a significant kind of threat, not somebody saying, oh, you should consider it because, okay? Was he aware of a power play about to come down? Yeah. Um, Apparently he was. Was the break between the former guy and Jeffrey E. over property they both wanted to buy? Is that what caused that sort of rift between them? So what we've got here is a small yes. What I'm hearing is that at some point, Trump got very nervous about exposure, and that was part of the pulling apart. Whether this property thing was part of an excuse or a reason or whatever, I don't know, but there was more to it. It had to do with, you know, sort of Trump recognizing that he needed to not be quite so buddy buddy. Will the Canadian junior hockey players of the 2018 gold medal team, who are under investigation for rape, finally be held responsible in a court of law? Okay, really broad question. Will, okay, is the investigation that's currently going on into the Canadian Junior Hockey Players League, is that going to produce charges? Are there going to be like criminal charges? Okay, so yes. And will some of those charged be found guilty? Right now, that's a yes. Okay, could plastic surgery, etc., alter a person so that they read differently? There was some speculation a while back that Epstein made a deal for freedom and has been whisked off somewhere with a new face and identity. Okay, so the answer to that is um, um, no. It's going to go on and on, but it's just no. Your soul is your soul. You know, you can lose 150 pounds and you're going to look really, really different, but you're you. Fundamentally, the soul is the soul. So, um, now a change, some sort of a physical change, could alter or shift the dynamics of your overall energy, right? I mean, you may become more confident or more outgoing, or right. But the sort of DNA, if you will, of the soul, that's intact. Does Bill Barr know the full story about what happened um, to Jeff? So yes. Was he involved? Too broad a question. Um, was he part of a process that was making decisions around that situation? Yes. Sometimes you just can't go down a rabbit hole. It's, you know, you have to be careful. Okay. Um, is Nikki Haley going to continue to be in the race for the next couple of weeks? Yes. Okay. Um, just to slip into Alberta for a second, Danielle Smith, the esteemed premier of our province, who is, as I've said before, Trump and heels, um, gave a one-on-one in-person interview with no less than Tucker Carlson on Wednesday night in Calgary, Alberta. And she justified it by saying that she gives a lot of media interviews and that it's her job to promote Alberta. And so that's why that it was accepted. And she doesn't have to agree with everything that Tucker Carlson says or believes. That was her justification, how she got around it. My question is this: is she going to pay a negative political price for that? Yeah. Apparently it was something like 500 or $1,000 a ticket to get into to see this interview being done live. Um, there was this little blurb about, you know, and they were talking to somebody who was part of, I guess, you know, a group of people who really, really support her. And he was like saying we are the last conservative, space in Canada, and we have to, hold tight and push back. And I was like, yeah, no, we're not. So, but she has, a mini mega movement, right? I mean, that's who and what is attracted to her. And I think that a lot of um, people who perhaps have voted for her in the past are a little bit not pleased. Just another quick question pertaining to her: is Danielle Smith um, going to notice her popularity um, decreasing again as a result of this? And that's a yes. Okay, that's what I know for today. It's Friday. Enjoy the weekend. Be good to yourself and someone else. Get some rest, get some sunshine, keep safe from the rain and the snow, whatever's going on in your world. Until next time, take care, be well, and we'll see you really soon. Bye bye for now.